Learning Jojo All Star Battle has been awesome. I can't believe such a good game has been locked away on PS3 for such a long time. The more I discover, the happier I am that it's finally coming out to other platforms, but the more I play, the more I find things that I wish were different. For instance, I'm getting to a point where I'm optimizing my combos more and more, and the more technical the combo, the more frustrating the input buffer system seems to be. It's extremely tight for no reason at all. For example, Part 1 Jojo has an upwards punch with his forward light attack button. He can cancel into this from any of his normal buttons. We're gonna try to do a medium into upwards punch, which works just fine. So after we knock up the opponent with his special, I now can pick up the combo with medium into forward light, no problem. I can do this whether I hit the button fast or if I delay it a bit, but there's a specific timing in between the two that just doesn't work, despite me pressing the button during the medium attack animation, and it just feels bad and frustrating. This happens across every single character in the roster. There's always some weirdness that you have to play around. Fortunately, this is actually something that will get changed in All Star Battle R, but with a lot of other changes coming with this remaster, there are a few things that have me concerned, and today I'd like to look at them together with you guys to see if we're on the same page. Now, I'm obviously not a pro All Star Battle player. I'm fairly new to the game, though I have been studying it a lot, not only by playing it myself, but also rewatching some old tournament footage. And in my opinion, if this game releases as it was, just with a better input buffer and assists and air dashes, there's going to be a lot of problems. That's what we're talking about today. Some of the things that developers need to pay attention to, and hopefully they are paying attention to them. But maybe they're not. So let's jump into it. But before we do, if you enjoyed these videos, do me a favor, scroll down and hit that subscribe button. It is free and it helps me out a lot. And let's get the obvious out of the way. There's been no announcements regarding online. The game needs lobbies, it needs rollback netcode, it needs everything for a good online experience. The game will live or die by this. I was watching the Maskless streaming the other day and he put it better than I ever could. He said, there's good netcode, there's bad netcode, and then there's CC2 netcode. CyberConnect 2 really needs to figure out their online experience. They're already a very respected developer in the anime space, but their online is what's stopping them from being a top-tier developer. CC2 games are usually revealed as like, yeah, they're good, but... and the but is usually the online is bad. So no doubt that should be their #1 priority. Now, looking at the rest of the changes, the first thing I would like for them to fix is rotate canceling. And this is going to be very controversial amongst the competitive community. Rotate canceling is a core mechanic that every single player uses in a competitive setting. Removing it would drastically change the game, but here's why I think it should be removed. The game is going to change drastically anyway with the addition of air dashes and assists. Getting rid of rotate canceling wouldn't be that big of a change if you consider the other two. And since I didn't know what rotate cancels were when I first jumped into the game, I'm gonna assume that a lot of you guys also don't. So I'll quickly run down what this is and why I don't think it's good if it stays in the game. So first, this game has auto combos. If you just smash the light attack button, my Dio here is gonna do this 3-hit combo. This is the same as me pressing the light, medium, and heavy attack buttons in succession. It's the exact same combo, just done automatically if you mash light. This means that if you do light, light, and then the heavy attack button, the combo will still look the same and it works just fine. So far, so good. Now, because this is a 3D game, there's a button to rotate around the stage. And this is where we break the game. If you do light, light, and rotate at the same time as the heavy, you've successfully done a rotate cancel. And the game thinks it still owes you a heavy attack from the auto combo for some reason. So you can get 2 heavy attacks in a row this way. Now here's where it gets crazy. The auto combo doesn't end after the 3 hits. If you keep mashing the light attack button, the combo keeps going. Dio will go into his Rekka, and after his Rekka, he'll go into the super. For Dio, his auto combo deals 313 damage. But if you rotate cancel the auto combo during all of these stages, Dio will be able to do like 3 special moves with rotate cancels alone, turning that 313 damage to a 406 damage combo for the same resources. And that's why this is such a big deal. Now, I actually like where the damage is at in this game. Watching tournament footage, I like the pace of the games, I like how fast the rounds are. I wouldn't like to nerf the damage at all, so why would I like rotate cancels to go away? Well, for 2 main reasons. One, we're getting assists. Assists are not necessarily going to increase the combo damage as the game has a combo limit, at which point the opponent will just fall off. So even if you want to extend combos further with assists, you might not be able to. At most, I can see you dealing more damage for less meter. But if we still have rotate cancels, assists are probably not going to be very valuable for combos. They'll mostly be used for neutral as well as pressure, and that's going to narrow the number of assists that are viable. It's not hard to hit the combo limit currently with rotate cancels, and one of the coolest things about having assists in a fighting game is having them support your playstyle. Different assists are good for different things, but with rotate cancels in the game, any assist that specializes in extending combos will will naturally be a weaker choice, narrowing your options in the character select menu. And the second reason is, I hate these inputs. Rotate cancels aren't hard to pull off, but I did have to switch my control scheme in order to do so. I had to put rotate on one of the face buttons where previously I had it on my left trigger where it felt more natural. And I've heard that a lot of people who used to play this game competitively actually used arcade sticks, which at first I didn't really understand why since this game plays fine on controller, but with rotate cancels being such a big deal, I can now see why that's the case. And that just goes against what seems to be their philosophy with this remaster, which is making the game more accessible. They are making changes to the input buffer system, they are adding input shortcuts for special moves, essentially making this game a bit more beginner friendly, and rotate cancels are the exact opposite of what it seems they're trying to do. Even though I think it actually gives you a lot of freedom in your combo routes. In my time with Dio, using a flash cancel as well as rotate cancels, I was able to create something like this. And if you don't know, flash cancel works pretty much the same as a Roman cancel in Guilty Gear. This combo is so hype. But before I even knew about rotate cancels, I was having a lot of fun discovering Dio's routes, like this super jump cancel conversion. It's super sick to do. And with a better input buffer, it won't be as hard to land. So I think that even without rotate cancels, we still have a lot of freedom and a lot of ways for us to express ourselves in the damage we deal. Actually, now that I think of it, can I do rotate cancels into this super jump route? This game is so sick. So yeah, rotate cancels, I hope they go away. It feels like a glitch anyway, and I think that will make assists a bit more useful and the game a lot easier to approach. Next, let's talk about guard breaks. As it stands right now, guard breaks are actually pretty rare, and that's because there aren't a lot of true block strings in this game. Whenever an opponent starts their pressure, even if they're using rotate cancels, there are usually gaps where you can do a stylish dodge or throw some reversal of some kind. So the guard meter only really exists to punish overly defensive opponents because while you're getting pressured, you usually have some options. Now, once you add assists, a lot of this fake pressure will become real, and it won't matter if you're being too defensive or not because there won't be any option for you to do. You're gonna have to take the block string, so the guard meter will be less of a mechanic to punish passive play and something that the opponent can aggressively target. And right now, there's no defensive mechanic to prevent this. The only thing they are sort of adding with the remaster is the ability to break combos using your own assists, which a combo breaker mechanic will probably be expensive as it should, but that makes it a weak way to deal with this kind of pressure. I sure hope they are keeping this side of the game in mind because a single assist will really be able to bridge the gaps and go for a guard break in many situations. Though I can see this not being as much of a problem if once again rotate cancels are removed from the game, which hey, turns out I had 3 reasons to remove rotate cancels. Speaking of assists, I think the simple fact that we're adding assists to the game is an immediate nerf to every single stand character. An indirect nerf for sure, but a nerf nonetheless. There's a really cool mechanic called stand rush that can be used by stand users. During some moves, you can choose to detach the stand from your character and they'll finish their move while you're able to freely do another action. This is an awesome mechanic and something that sets stand users apart. It's almost like they're creating their own assist to go for some pressure with the main character. You see where I'm going with this? With assists being added to the game, every character will have access to this sort of tool, which begs the question, what's the point of stand rush anymore? Maybe stand users will be able to use this more often because if the opponent runs out of assists, they can't do it anymore. Maybe stand users will prefer to use a different kind of assist, and maybe this won't be a problem at all. But it's something to keep in mind as it will certainly change the game if you used to be a stand main. Finally, let's talk about air dashing. As far as I know, there's no universal anti-air button in this game. Some characters have very good anti-air buttons, others struggle a bit more or just outright have no options. Air dash is gonna make the aerial game a lot stronger. Characters will be able to cover a lot more of the screen while jumping over projectiles or other attacks, which is gonna increase the importance of anti-air buttons. This means a character with a good anti-air will immediately become stronger in the remaster. And that's totally fine, I just hope that the opposite doesn't happen. If a character was already not so good and they happen to not have great anti-air options, I hope they are paying attention to those characters in particular so they don't become completely useless. Depending on how fast the air dash is, it could also change the mix-up game. You may have noticed that I've been spending a lot of time with Dio, and with the super jump, I don't think he's missing an air dash that much. In fact, from a super jump, I'm pretty sure this is a pure 50-50, as he hovers in the air for a bit bit longer if you press a button before landing, almost like it does an aerial air hop. But if we have a fast air dash in the game, a lot more characters are going to be able to use this mix. And this isn't necessarily a problem, just another change that will make the game significantly different. Now, air dashes plus assists, that reminds me of a lot of crazy mix-ups that you can see in other games where you cross up the opponent, but your assist is actually the one doing the mix. All Star Battle R will be a completely different beast than what it is today, way crazier for sure, and I'm here for it. And that's the video, but despite me spending a lot of time talking about how systems will change, it's important to highlight the first thing I said in this video, which is the online. And that's the #1 thing with a bullet. I remain optimistic, and I think the dev team is paying attention to all of this. They, better than me, know how these things will change the game, but I just wanted to voice some things that popped out to me as I was discovering this game while keeping the new features that the remaster will have in mind. And this is the kind of stuff that I'll be looking at if I ever get a review code, if I try the game ahead of time. This is the kind of stuff that I'll be looking out for. If you guys agree with the stuff we talked about today, make sure to leave me a like and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku and I'll see you next time. Bye!